Cori is today our Secretary Treasurer for Alberta Federation of Labour. So we've got Cori out here, and then we also have the President of Alberta Federation of Labour of And you know what? They came from Edmonton to walk our picket line. Put our hands together for all of them. We got friends. We got friends. Postal workers never forget. So I'm going to allow them to share.
And they've sent me and Cori here today to walk your picket lines, not just this one. This is the third picket line in the city that we've been on today. And we're here to tell you that you're not alone and that you have the support of the whole labor movement in this province. We're also here to tell you and to remind you that what you're doing is working, because the conditions have changed. When you go to the bargaining table without worker action, you have less bargaining power. But what you've been doing over the last few days has changed the conditions at your bargaining table. It has given your negotiating team more power because the management and the government, frankly, are feeling the heat. You guys are feeling some heat. You guys are feeling some heat today because of your burn barrels. But that same kind of fire, you guys are bringing that fire to the negotiating table in Ottawa, and it's already making a difference. And so I just want to say, you know, like, this is the third picket line in Calgary that we've been on today. We were downtown talking to your members on 6th Avenue. We were over at your, is it the sorting station?
Yeah,
the distribution center. And now, Sunridge, yeah. And, you know, a couple of things that I want to point out. First, when we walked up to that picket line in Sunridge, we were greeted by lots of your fellow CUPW members, and there was a lot of enthusiasm. But one of the things that really struck me was that as we were walking up, there were a number of cars that were pulling up to drop off food and donations. So there were donuts, there was coffee, and I asked your sisters and brothers on the picket line, I said, are those fellow CUPW members? They said, no, they're members of the public. I said, do you know them? They said, never seen them before. But it's probably happening here as well. But people are coming up to drop off donations and support. And one of the reasons that they're doing that, of course, is because they support you in your struggle. But I think something else more profound is happening. People are coming up to show support for you because they understand that you're standing for them as well. Because, like, I don't have to tell you, over the last 2 years, we've been living through an unprecedented period of inflation. In fact, the cost of living right here in Calgary is almost the same as it is in Toronto right now. So people used to say that Alberta was the land of milk and honey, high wages, low cost of living, but that's no longer the case. And in fact, on the picket line downtown, we were talking to some of your folks, and one of the women there told us a really heartbreaking story. She told us that she had been paying $1,800 a month in rent, which is high, but they just increased her rent to $2,200 a month. And, you know, so the cost of everything is going up. The cost of rent, the cost of food, the cost of gas at the pumps. But you know what hasn't been going up?
Wages.
Salaries. So, and that's one of the reasons when people see you on the picket line, they see themselves reflected. And it's powerful because not only, you know, people are experiencing the same thing, but not every worker, especially in the non-union workplaces, they don't have the leverage that you have by coming together. And so they know that if you can win higher wages, that pulls everybody up. So you're not just fighting for yourselves, you're fighting for the entire working class in this city, across the province, and across the country. And the final thing I'm going to say is, like, when we were on as Cori and I were talking to a bunch of the temps. How many of you are temps here? Temps? Right? Recently hired some people, and your corporation is stacking the deck against people who are new to the job. They're stacking the deck against younger workers who are trying to find a foothold for themselves. And what you guys are fighting for is fairness, not just for people with lots of seniority, but for every worker in the plants delivering now. And this, once again, this is an issue that's happening across sectors and across employers. They're trying to degrade the quality of our work. They're trying to strip workplaces of dignity, and they think they can get away with having this entirely degraded and exploited working class. But what you guys are saying, and what we are saying together, is that we are not going to put up with that. And you guys are at the vanguard of this. Yes. This fight for quality, for decent wages, quality working conditions, and perhaps most importantly, for dignity for working class people. So I'm just going to wrap up by saying that this fight is just starting, and you guys have given all the rest of us in the labor movement real inspiration, because right now there's about 250,000 other working people in the public and private sector who are at the bargaining table right now, dealing with the exact same kind of conditions in terms of wages that haven't kept up with inflation, in terms of employers that are trying to rip us off and degrade the quality of our work. 250,000 other workers who are at the bargaining table right now, some of whom have already rejected, like the nurses just rejected the contract offer. We've got education workers from K-12 education. There's a strike in public school board workers, Catholic school board workers are on the picket lines up in Fort McMurray. There's 41 other locals in K-12 education that are probably going to be on the strike, on the picket line soon. So you guys are showing this like an inspiring example for all of them about the strength of what happens when we all band together. So with that, I just want to let you know that for however long it takes, the rest of the labor movement is going to be here to support you. We support you today. We'll support you for however long it takes to get you the kind of contract that you
all back to you, because you folks are the ones that are putting your necks on the line. You folks are the ones that work here day in and day out. You're the rank and file workers. You're doing the important work that workers do, and I just want to thank you for going out on strike, having us here, but you're the ones that need that praise, so I just want to, like, round of applause, let's cheer for ourselves. So I'll tell you that I've been a proud union member for 20 years, and I started at the post office. I got my Longo, Longo, Longo.